Hey everyone, welcome to episode 243 of the All Dolphins podcast. He is Omar. I am Pupar. As promised, we're having a second episode on this Monday because earlier we had to preview the start of the legal tampering period. And now we have a whole bunch of contracts that have been agreed to, not officially signed until Wednesday at 4. And let's just say the Dolphins were on the wrong end of a lot of those. Before we get to that, we're going to do something different for the history lesson, because this is episode 243. So we're going to take the last two digits, 43, and do our final tribute to Andrew Van Ginkel. He is one of those Dolphins who's out the door. 2-year deal, $20 million was the report. $14 million guaranteed with the Minnesota Vikings, and former Dolphin head coach and now Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores. Gink, good for you. Good guy. His wife, Samantha, put out a post on Twitter explaining they're going back to their Midwest roots, of course. Gink played collegiately at Wisconsin after a stint at an Iowa junior college, which led to the episode with Omar. But good dude. Very good. I mean, you want to talk about a fifth-round selection by the Dolphins in 2019, paid major dividends. The Dolphins absolutely hit on that draft pick. Certainly couldn't give him the money, but we salute you, Andrew Van Ginkel, on your way to Minnesota.
Salute all the dudes who broke the bank. And
but only Van Ginkel wore number 43, episode number. This was our salute.
Okay.
Now we pivot.
All
guys who all got some nice contracts: Christian Wilkins, Van Ginkel, Robert Hunt, Brandon Jones. Any one of those shock you by their magnitude?
All of their magnitudes shocked me. Every single one of them. The Brandon Jones deal to me was just like, oh my Lord. And I'm not saying that he's a bad player, because I don't think he's a bad player. He's a limited player, but he's still an impactful, good player. If I'm the Dolphins, I would have been courting Justin Simmons. And that's the deal I would have offered to what I thought was the best free agent in football, and to a best free agent safety in football. And for Brandon Jones to get that caliber of deal, woo, that's nice for him. I think the biggest surprise to me was that, and obviously the details of the deals need to be reported properly and turned into league and examined, because a lot of times what you hear on the first day are fudged numbers, not fake numbers, but fudged numbers.
Okay.
For Christian Wilkins to be $24 million a year and arguably probably the third highest paid defensive tackle in the NFL, crazy talk to me. But Christian has always known he was going to be all right. He was going to be good. He bet on himself, and he bet big. He bet and he won big. And honestly, and for Dolphin fans who are in their feelings because they didn't franchise tag him, trust me, you couldn't. It was going to be an even deeper purge than the purge you still haven't made yet. And until you clear this cap space, you are going to have problems signing, luring, and executing deals with free agents. So maybe they're sitting out round one until this cap space gets cleared.
That's very possible. And the other thing, like the reported guarantee on Christian Wilkins, those are numbers generally that are not fudge. What's fudge usually is so many years and the dollar value that gets blown up to the highest possible number, because that makes everybody look good from the agent player perspective. But what's reported is $64 million guaranteed, which, to quote Robert De Niro from the movie Midnight Run, which I hope you saw, that's a pretty respectable neighborhood.
I thought without a doubt he was going to clear $60 million. So he cleared 64. So he got 64, which, and as anybody who knows me knows, I only count guaranteed money. So 64 divided by 3, that puts him at $21 million in guaranteed money. Correct. Over the first 3 years of the deal, which is pretty damn good. I was at 20, like I couldn't pay him more than 20, but the rest of the deal is astronomically large, as are all the deals. First wave of free agency. These are guys that teams are selling to their franchise, that these are guys that are going to change the trajectory of where we are. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to be able to put together a good crop of talent, because I think the best round in free agency is the second round. That's just my personal opinion. And I can't tell you that the Dolphins are done or toast because of all the talent that they lost, because it's not over. It's not finished yet. But what I can tell you is the apocalypse is real. These are the ramifications.
Hold on. So I'm trying to see here. So about 6 minutes in, somebody on Twitter was suggesting that you would absolutely say the apocalypse is real. And basically the only question was exactly how long is it going to take?
These are, and I hate that, like, when I bring it up, it wasn't about, oh, you're in a cap crisis. This is about, you can't afford your talent on your team. You're not going to be able to put it back together. And all of these guys being exposed to the market, getting overpaid, and let's be real, tell Alan Papard, tell me who didn't get overpaid.
Okay, but let me jump in here and then give the numbers before, because since we haven't totally said that. So we said Wilkins, the reported number was 4 years, 118 million, 64 guaranteed. No, yeah, that's for him. Mm-hmm. No, hold on. I have to go back to what I wrote. Robert Hunt was 5 years, 100 million, with 64 million guaranteed. That's the one that was 64 million.
I love Robert Hunt. Do you think Robert Hunt is a $100 million player?
Let me throw out the numbers and we'll.
Okay.
Christian Wilkins was 4 year, 110, 84.75 million guaranteed. Brandon Jones was 3 years, 20 mil, with
like 13 guaranteed or 12 guaranteed.
Something. I didn't see a guaranteed number, but potentially up to 22 million. And Ginkel was 2 years, 20 mil, with 14 guaranteed.
I think Ginkel
is. So, yes, all of them.
Ginkel is probably the only player that I would say did not get overpaid, because I put Ginkel at about $7 million price point, and that's why when I thought Mike McDaniel's $12 million a year price point, I was like, that's a little high. But I absolutely would have paid Ginkel $7 million a year. No question about it.
Yeah, but that's the minimum guaranteed. Chances are he's going to make more than that, because it's 2 years. It's generally speaking, though, the shorter the contract, the more likely that they are to reach whatever is thrown out there in terms of a maximum. So, no, to me, the one that's crazy is Brandon Jones. And as you said, no offense to him, he's a good player. He's kind of a specialty player to me. If you're going to blitz your safeties, he's great, because he's very, very good at it. He's a very good tackler.
Still, like, he can't get better, but yeah,
dude. No, sorry. Again, here's the thing. I don't know why we keep doing this. Who's to say he can't get better? Because he's been in the NFL 4 years. After 4 years, sure, you can improve in certain areas, but you don't go from being a C coverage guy to being an A coverage guy. Sorry.
That's fair.
Okay.
I'm not going to argue against that. I'm not going to argue against that. But in a scheme that's a little more fitting for him, who's to say he can't be a better player? But I'm not going to argue with you. If you're not good in coverage, it's hard to believe you're going to get good in coverage in year 5. And they called him Blitz Boy for a reason, because that's pretty much the only thing he was good at. And a lot of times he left the secondary exposed when he was out there in coverage, because he wasn't helping nobody. But this is
fix against the Jets, but that was a big game last year.
Yeah. This is not a complain about losing talent. Congratulate all these guys. As I preach all the time, you are worth what the market says you're worth. Robert Hunt, if the market says you're worth $100 million, you're worth $100 million. Now, could the Dolphins have competitively bid on that or a lot of these deals? No, they couldn't, because they're capped out. They're capped out. They're in a crisis. And right now, they're going to be shopping for a team at the dollar store.
Here's the other thing, too, that we have to keep in mind. along with the idea of, because technically they could have finagled a way to match one of those deals or whatever. Here's the problem: the Dolphins, in addition, hold on, in addition to have to get under the cap, the Dolphins are looking at having to give Jalen Waddle a new deal, Jalen Phillips a new deal.
Oh, are we?
Hold on, let me finish, please.
Okay.
Please. Okay. Phillips, Waddle, Javon Holland, and they're going to give Tua a new deal. Mm-hmm. There's only so much money to throw around. You can't have high-end, top-of-the-market player at 18 different positions. And this is where, to me, the issue of positional value came into play, where the Dolphins at some point decided there's only so much we're going to pay for a defensive tackle, no matter how good he is. There's only so much we're going to pay for a right guard, no matter how good he is. And this is why the Dolphins had set a price limit for Hunt, for Wilkins, that they weren't willing to go over.
That's all fair, well and good, and a lot of people will be celebrating it. This is what happens when you make good draft picks and good talent and whatnot, and there is some validity to that. But having to pay Waddle and Phillips and Holland later has nothing to do with being pillaged by the NFL now. Nothing. Zero.
It does, because at some point you're not going to be able to have all of those guys. So they figure that we're going to have to take the hit at some point. Do we take it now or do we take it?
Yeah, but aren't you in a win now?
Well,
aren't you we're trying to pull the title contending team? Does today help you build the title contending team? Did you get closer or further away?
No, they got much further away, but today was a day where they're sitting back. Indicates to me that they're not necessarily pausing, but slowing down, certainly the idea of all in. We're going to do whatever it takes to win now. Because now they've not only eliminated the idea of having to give massive contracts to those guys, they've also set themselves up to get comp picks next year, to where, lo and behold, they might have more than 4 picks or 6 picks. Like this year they have 6 picks, which isn't much, actually less than 1 per round. But it's actually much more than what they got the past 2 years when they got 4 picks each time. And I don't know who it was it Tony Pauling? That's the lowest 2-year amount, like maybe in NFL history, to have 8 picks over a two draft period. Yeah, that's not how you replenish.
So now we're just using it. We're replenishing talent with compensatory picks later on. Okay, I mean, this is going to be one hell of a compensatory pick haul. It is.
Well, the max for each team every year is 4, and the Dolphins right now could be looking at 4. And Hunt and Wilkins, based on the value of the deals that they sign, you could be looking at a 3rd-round pick for each. Now, the next step is going to be hitting on those picks. But to go back to the original point, there's no question, without a doubt, that the Dolphins today are not nearly as good a team as they were yesterday. Like, for example, who the hell is your outside linebacker? They have 3 guys under contract who are rehabbing from major injuries, along with Zeke Vanderberg, and I forget who the other one is under contract. It's somebody who, all due respect, is not a big name. I forget his name. So Dolphins are going to have to get players. Sorry?
I'm trying to think of the outside linebackers. Yep, Zeke damn, you going to throw Zeke Vanderberg under the bus like that? Yeah, no.
There's a future contract guy. Is another future contract guy whose name escapes me right now.
Quinn Bell.
There you go, Quinn Bell.
Hey. Congratulations to all the guys who got the money, all the guys who got the bag, who secured their financial future. I celebrate every single one of their deals, because that's what it's about. It's about players. The second contract is where that builds generational wealth. And each one of those players had earned what they've gotten.
You missed your calling. You should have been a player agent or a player.
I am a player advocate as a journalist. They know that's what I do.
We're also talking about the Dolphins here, and you keep focusing on the players.
Yeah. No. I mean,
they're gone to hell with them, and now they're gone. We don't care about them anymore. They're gone. They got their bag. Good for them. Happy for them.
As a Dolphin fan, let's look at this from a Dolphins fan perspective. Okay, it hurts, but you cared about them for 4 years, and now all of a sudden, because they left you, you don't give a damn no more.
From a
Like, think
from a
about
Dolphins
where Andrew Van Ginkel was last year. Think about where he was, and the humility that it took for him to come back.
2.6.
And basically come back as a special teams player, have opportunity, maximize that opportunity. Like, you're not happy for him. You're not like, think about Chris.
Do you honestly think Dolphin fans care more about the fact that those guys, they're happy for them because they got their bag than the fact that how we're going to replace? This is from the Dolphins fan perspective. Come on, dude.
This is okay. You'll replace them. You will find another Andrew Van Ginkel.
Okay,
you will find another Robert Hunt in the draft. You will find, I don't know if you'll find another Christian Wilkins. It's, you'll find another Brandon Jones. Like, you'll find that might be an undrafted player.
Wow.
For all you know, you'll be all right. Listen, and they'll sign players, and you'll celebrate them. They'll sign the David Longs in the next cycle. They'll sign the, who else? Who else is they'll figure out what to do to address one of their many glaring holes with some injured player from the bargain bin, some dollar store find, and you'll celebrate that dollar store find, and you'll tell yourself that he's better than Robert Hunt, and you'll say, gosh darn it, Liam Eichenberg really looked good at right guard. That's what the Dolphin fans will do. And it'll be delusional, but that's fandom. I know the players, so I celebrate their success and journey and moving on and financial security. And I'll see them eventually in a strip club or in some restaurant or in some spot, and we'll just talk about life and move on, like their tenure in the Dolphins never happened.
Okay,
it happened to me last weekend. Like,
that's great, but okay, let's move on from their perspective to the Dolphin perspective, and I'm going to make the point. For example, the one factor about Christian Wilkins' departure that should not be underrated is the Dolphins' depth on the defensive line was booty cheeks last year, except we never really noticed that much. Why? Because Zach Sealer and Christian Wilkins were always on the field.
Played every snap. Played every damn snap.
Both of them were over 80% of defensive snaps, which is very rare for an interior defensive lineman. And Wilkins did that the past 2 years. The dude never came off the field. And that's going to be hard to replace. So you're not only having to replace what he did in terms of last year was actually more pass rushing than run defending. The previous years was run defending, but also a guy who was durable and was always there. Mm-hmm. I think he's obviously, to me, he's the most difficult to replace of the four. Van Ginkel's departure hurts a lot more because of the issues with Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips and the nasty injuries from which they have to rehab. And I would also, another thing I would point out is, don't be surprised if where the Dolphins focus on all things being equal, they're going to go for the quote unquote street free agent as opposed to the UFA, because the street free agent does not hurt you in terms of the compensatory pick aspect of it.
It's very clear what's being done here.
Or the way, and the post, you sign somebody after June 1, compensatory pick formula is done and over with. So
we are shopping at the Dollar Tree. We are shopping at
Walmart.
No, I don't even think we're at Walmart.
No.
Below
Walmart.
What's below Walmart? DD Discounts.
Okay.
Yeah, it's DD Discounts is a good store. They carry the same things as Marshall and Ross.
What's it called?
DD Discounts.
Never heard of it.
Oh, see, you're underestimating. It's literally in the same brand as Marshall and Ross. They carry the same items, just at a lower price point.
Okay.
So
I will say this for you. You should be happy. There are a couple of running backs who switched teams today. In fact, I have my list here of the main free agents who switched teams. Tony Pollard went to Tennessee. DeAndre Swift to Chicago. Sorry, they agreed to terms. Nothing official until Wednesday at 4. And yes, by the way, somebody asked me, free agents Can change their mind. Nothing's, but it's never happened, but it's technically not official.
I would like to say something here before you continue that.
Go ahead.
Mike Wallace taught me. I asked him one time, what is your biggest regret? And he's like, before I signed my deal, I should have met Joe Philbin. And I always think to myself, these guys who are signing up in these situations and going into it absolutely blind, in this tampering period, you should be able to travel and visit and meet these teams, because Mike said, if I had met Joe Philbin before I signed, I would have never signed.
Whoa.
Wow. And I always sit there and think to myself, like, these guys have, they're going into these blood situations blind, just signing up for the highest dollar value. And you don't know who the hell you're going to be coached by, because you like, okay, Mike Tomlin, yes, but you better know these coaches, because some of these coaches suck.
This is a part where I could be very rude and say that Mike Wallace wishes he had gone out to run a few deep patterns with Ryan Tannehill missing him, and then he would have changed his mind. But that would be rude, so I'm not going to say it. Sorry.
My favorite free agent still hasn't been signed, and I could still have dreams.
Correct. Oh, I'm getting to that. Gus Edwards signed with the Chargers, Devin Singletary with the Giants. These are just the running backs. Josh Jacobs with Green Bay. Antonio Gibson with New England. And what name is missing from that list? What name? It runs with Merrick Benry.
He's still out there. He's going to Dallas or the Ravens as a finishing piece. I know the Dolphins, they have good running backs. It's not a priority. They'll probably say to themselves, we could use one of those 5th-round draft picks and get another guy that can help us. We've got needs out the wazoo, but I would argue to you, nobody changes your identity more than Derrick Henry. And you right now need an identity change. You need talent, which you don't really have it right now. But outside of talent, you need an identity change.
You mean so you're not a finesse team anymore? Tell me what you make of this, by the way. This is our Tyreek Hill just tweeted not that long ago. Said, I know Greer in his bag secretly right now, so I'm not tripping.
They know more.
Well, no, yeah, correct. They wouldn't know more. I'm wondering what could be in the bag.
Listen. Chris Greer has got offers out to many of Drew's 72 clients. And Tyreek knows. Tyreek's called Drew and like, Drew, what's going on? What we doing? Where we at? What's going on? And Drew's like, be patient. It'll happen. He'll figure it out. And I do believe that Greer, because I personally believe his job is on the line right now. Like, this don't turn out good in 2024. And so I feel like he's going to pull a rabbit out of a hat somehow, some way, because his job's on the line. What that rabbit is going to look like, I don't know.
That's a very good point.
But it does start with Tyreek Hill getting an extension. Just my personal opinion.
Maybe that's what he's referring to. Maybe it's him getting a 3-year extension and going, told you guys he had something up his sleeve. Was I going to say, former Dolphin news, Devontae Parker apparently is going to be released. He's been given permission to stop his services. Yep. After 2 seasons in New England. Did you see the stat where this next gen in separation, he was dead last each of the past 4 seasons?
Listen, he's not a master of separation. He's a master of catching contested balls.
Correct. Senor 50-50.
Yes. I'm not surprised. New England is going to replenish their entire offense. They have the pieces on defense, and I'm more confident in what their coach is going to be able to do based on just talking to former players from the Patriots, and they're confident in what their coach is able to do. They just need to replenish the offense, and they got some thoughts and ideas that could make life difficult for the Dolphins in the coming weeks. Can we talk about Kirk Cousins' deal and departure to Atlanta? Because I've always felt like that was the first domino to fall. Do we have a price point on Kirk Cousins?
I It's out there. I don't recall.
I'm gonna find it right now because here's my thing about Kirk Cousins. Um, I believe he sets the market for Tua Tagovailoa in terms of what Kirk Cousins got is the price for Tua. He's at 4 years, $180 million, $50 million in a signing bonus,
It's 45 a year.
which is what I've always felt was Tua's price point.
Okay.
45, 44, 45 a year, $120 million in guaranteed money. If I'm the Dolphins, I'm not budging from that line. Which is part of the reasons why I don't think an extension gets done before March 13th. Now, it could very well. That could be the route that the Dolphins take instead of extending Jalen and Tyreek. Could be a Tua extension, and you sell this to the fan base. But I don't think the fan base want to hear about Tua being locked up for another 4 years right at this very moment.
Some of the fan base wants to hear it. You know that. The fan base wants no part of it. Some of the fan base is like, rock on.
That I think that's something you need to wait till training camp to address and figure out. But hey, $45 million a year for Tua, 3 years guaranteed. So ultimately, we're talking about $135 million guaranteed, which seems a little steep for me. So, but the market is what the price is the price. We at least know he's not going to be traded to Minnesota.
And you mean if they sign him, correct? My thoughts. We know he's not getting traded to Minnesota regardless because Flores will be like, I'm resigning on the spot. You do that. My thoughts on Tua have.
I was wondering where you're going to get that.
My thoughts on Tua and the contract extension have been
very
consistent. Nothing has changed, so there's really no need to address it right now. You were mentioning,
but I do dislike. I saw this on the Twitter streets. We couldn't pay Christian Wilkins because we're about to pay Tua. One has absolutely nothing to
not
do with
this year, but down the road it would. Again, you're only going to have enough money to sign so many. You can't have.
And just like in other years, you massage the salary, you massage the cap, and then you push the bill down the line. So I don't even look at that. Yes, you're right. You can't pay too many players at the same time. But just because you have to pay a quarterback, which you have to pay a quarterback moving forward, unless you're ready to reset the franchise, that doesn't mean it's going to stop you from paying anybody else. The Robert Hunts, the Christian Wilkins. In fact, extending Tua gives you the cap space you need to make these deals done if you want this year.
Correct.
Okay, when have you not lived in the worry about tomorrow?
Well, but this is obviously the Dolphins have made a little midstream switch in terms of philosophy where they're not completely diving off the cliff. Maybe now they have a parachute as they're going down the cliff where they're slowing down a little bit their descent. Okay. Couple of other things in terms of quarterbacks, because they're in the same division. All the scuttlebutt is the Patriots are going to sign a veteran. Now that they traded Mac Jones to Jacksonville, we should get Tom Curran back on just to have him discuss the Mac Jones trade. Yes, I went there. Now that they've traded Mac Jones, the scuttlebutt is that they're going to sign a veteran as a placekeeper, maybe Jacoby Brissett going back.
Oh my God!
And then take a quarterback at 3, whether it be Jaden Daniels or Drake May. It's Gardner Minshew is going to Las Vegas. Minshew Mania, former Jacksonville, former Colts. I guess he's going to compete with Aiden O'Connell,
I bet you they're going to go Jimmy Garoppolo. Don't do Jacoby Brissett. Like, why do people think that he's good?
Who's going to go? He's serviceable.
I'd rather have Ryan Tannehill, and that says a lot.
Who's on the market?
Yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo.
For who?
Huh?
For who? The Patriots?
Yeah.
Dude's going to get hurt in the 3rd game of the season. Why he can't? And where was it? I don't know where. I mean, I think it was out of Vegas that there were reports that he wasn't necessarily beloved by his teammates.
I mean, they put out all kinds of negative stuff whenever they want to.
Well, they're gonna dump him regardless because of salary cap considerations. So
They got to pay for that Christian Wilkins deal.
they do. Yes, they do. And by the way, since we're on the topic of the SCs, did you see the tweet from Deion Dawkins?
No.
Oh, so Deion Dawkins put out a tweet saying, like, love this time in Buffalo, but it's time to move on. And then 3 minutes later, report comes out he's agreed to a 3-year contract extension with the Bills. And then Deion Dawkins doubles on with a second tweet saying, y'all are crazy if you think I'm leaving Buffalo. I'm a Bills for life. And then he put a little video saying, and he just woke up feeling like trolling people. So they're not losing Deion Dawkins. He signed a 3-year contract extension. Just about every other big name veteran they have is leaving, but not Deion Dawkins. So
hey man, they got their own apocalypse, and they're struggling as well. And it'll be interesting to see how that team continue. Like I'm not sure Stephon Diggs is going to be there. I'm still waiting to see, and we will see.
Yeah, and for the Dolphins, they still have a bunch of free agents still on the market floating out there. The next one on defense. I think maybe the last big name on defense, big names relatively, is Raekwon Davis.
Deshaun Elliott?
Well, Raekwon Davis has been with the team since 2020, former second-round pick, one-time starter. I think he's more significant than Deshaun Elliott, to be honest. So we'll see what happens to him. We'll see what happens to Deshaun Elliott. A whole lot of safeties on the market.
A couple of wide receivers too. I don't.
All the wide receivers, yeah.
At this point, yeah, I think you might be right in terms of money. Raekwon Davis probably is the biggest money guy, but I expect a mad exodus as I've always expected, always predicted. This is what happens when you live life on a credit card. The bill eventually comes due, and here we are, Dolphin fans. The
problem was a dead cap space. Omar, not a word. You know I'm right. Thank you.
A dead cap. Everybody got dead cap. It's not real money. It's everybody.
Not an issue of real money. It's an issue of it's cap space that you don't have.
And how much is that dead? How much is that? How much is that? The Titans got $31 million in dead cap. The Lions got $23 million in dead cap. The Seahawks got $35 million in dead cap. The Raiders got $15 million in dead cap. The Jets got $28 million in dead cap. The Bucks got $22 million in dead cap. How much is that stopping you from doing anything? It don't. $27 million for the Chargers. Like, bro, dead cap don't. It's not a luxury tax. You're not paying it to nobody.
I know that.
It's not stopping. It's not stopping you from doing a damn thing. It allowed you to do things 2 and 3 years ago, and the bill is due now.
22-3. Okay.
So anyway,
but yes, correct. Without question, we knew that this was coming. That the Dolphins went all out, and this is the price again. When you go out and get a Tyreek Hill, give him a fat new contract. When you go out and get Bradley Chubb and give him a fat new contract. When you go out and get Jalen Ramsey, giving a fat new contract.
His wasn't that fat. His wasn't that fat. Jalen Ramsey. He just got a 3-year extension, and most of his money got pushed to this year. So his contract, Jalen's not like a top 5 paid cornerback, and we already know he's one of the best cornerbacks in the league.
Hold on.
What?
Average per year, Jalen Ramsey is 3rd in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but yeah, he's
total guarantee.
And last year he got paid peanuts.
Total guarantee is the 2nd highest behind only Denzel Ward. Okay, so don't tell me it wasn't a huge contract that they gave. Like I said what I said. It was a huge contract.
I'm not going to fight with you about that. I'm going to let
it go. I'm right. I like it. In fact, I'll go as far as to give you this.
All right. I worry about what's coming as opposed to what is lost. And I think that's where Dolphin fans should shift their attention. I don't know if you'll be active tomorrow or the next day or the next day. But eventually the Dolphins will be active when players decide they want to take the deals that they're putting out there.
Okay. So our good friend Cameron Wolf and Reno Report are reporting that the deal is officially done
Which deal?
with Teron Armstead. Doesn't say what the new deal is and how much it will save against the cap.
My guess is $8 million. Just a guess. We shall see.
Yes, sir. So I think we're going to wrap it up for now. If anything major happens,
we'll be back.
Maybe we'll be back. If not, we'll definitely be back tomorrow.
All right. Always appreciate you guys watching, paying attention, caring about us, listening to us, caring about our thoughts. AllDolphins.com. You can find all the work, all the stories for free. And we'll be back on AllDolphins.com, the podcast, tomorrow.